first of all, I'm Alex, as mentioned before. I'm product manager currently at Badoo. I'm speaking from London office. So my main specialization is revenue and value proposition. So I'm trying to monetize product better, but don't drop retention, don't drop acquisition and so on. And I'm trying to monetize product better, using value proposition methods. So let's just start from basics and proceed to UX value proposition. So yeah, that's my photo. As I mentioned, I am product manager at Badoo and so on. Starting from value proposition point, I mean, why are we talking about it? That's because we all know that over 90% of products fail, not even startups, but products. And 42% fails because no market need. What no market need means? It means that your product is not tailored to a market, and it could be explored probably earlier than product development. And that's how value proposition design helps starting from scratch. So product value proposition, for me, it's usually consists of two parts. First part, as I said before, product value proposition and UX value proposition. If someone tries to ask you, so what product proposition in a nutshell, I would say someone is perceiving value proposition as something for something like blockchain for Christian families, I don't know, chair for Uber drivers and so on. But it is not something like that. So value proposition is statement why customer should care about your product or service. And main target of creating best value proposition is to convince your customer that your product or service will give some value for that customer, and it's better than competitors' products. So I don't know if you're aware about value proposition canvas by Alexander Kasserweider, but basically it's very simple thing. You should start from right side, which is customer profile. So you should observe your customers, you should talk to them, and you should understand what the customer jobs, what your customer want to do with your product. If you are selling, I would say, dating product, so probably we are assuming that our customers want to date, want to meet someone, want to speak with someone, and so on. But again, you need to validate it. Then you are switching to customer gains. You should understand why customer wants to use something. I mean, what gains they expecting to get. And third part, you should understand what current pains customers have. For example, customers could be alone, customers could I don't know, want to speak with someone or just date someone or just having something casual and that's it. And then when you observe your customer, when you talk to them, you're starting to create your value proposition and you're starting to create your product. It's I understand it's ideal way and ideal world. But initially we are starting from problems and customer profiles, and then we are switching to value proposition. So when you're creating value proposition for your product, you should understand do you have any pain relievers? I mean, because as far as you understand, your customers have some pains, and you should understand okay, do we create a product that really will solve this problem? And then how you are solving this problem? What product and services solving what parts of your product solving these problems for customers, and what game creators do you have? So it's very basic, it's marketing thing, but Alexander Osterweider has great book which called value proposition canvas, I think, and it's explained very well and very structured. So yes, just to summarize this product value proposition, you should ideally develop a user-driven value proposition. So you're talking to your customers, you're talking to your stakeholders, you're talking to your users. If you don't have one, so you're assuming what your user would be and speak to them. Then you're thinking about potential solution. We are not starting from solution. We are starting from users and then switching to solution. And you're testing, like, because obviously you can talk about, you can create something and that's it, but you always need to test your solution. You always need to like test your assumptions, and then we are putting towards, like, we are moving towards problem solution fit. So problem solution fits if it's like when your product really works, because like your customers have problems, your product solves these problems. That's it. Very simple. So like from my experience, usually like it works very well when you're using voice of your customer, because let's say you have, I don't know, marketplace that sells I don't know, anything, let's say tables, and you can tailor your value proposition like for yourself. You can create like many specific details, and you can say like, we are SaaS marketplace that helps blah blah blah. It doesn't work because like customer don't care what kind of marketplace you are. They don't care about your business model. They always focusing on like getting some value. So if you use a voice of your customer, and if you clearly display benefits, and you're saying like, we create best tables from wood, I would say. And you explain, like, you're explaining why your tables are the best, it works. So second part is at least try to be focused on outcomes, outcomes for users. As I mentioned before, users are interested only in value that they get and not on like on your product. And like at least try to display benefits clearly. So let's try to like observe several like value proposition statements that I personally love. For example, Revolut. So they propose like not another big like banking product. So they display that they have radically better account, and they're explaining that banks will charge you when you spend transfer money abroad, hidden fees, and so on. And they are like exchange rates. So they are putting like customer pains, and they are putting it in their value proposition, and they are focused on outcomes for customer. Another like big thing, which is Zoom. Probably you like all know Zoom is like super fast growing startup. So their value proposition is like really short, but it's super good. The number one video communication solution is here to help. And simple thing, Zoom just works, because obviously like we are all users, we are like using um, like messengers, yeah, we are using like video conference platforms, and our pains, it doesn't work. You can hear someone, you can see someone, your screen sharing doesn't work, and so on. So Zoom statement that Zoom just works. Let's say mixed panel value proposition. So mixed panel is analytics platform, and they are not focusing on like what platform is currently doing. They are focusing on customer. So they are saying grow your business by learning why users convert, engage, and retain. Analyze user behavior, send messages, run experiments, and so on. So they are clearly focused on outcomes for user. Same with Slack. Same with Slack. Slack is a collaborating hub for right people with right access to information, and so on. So switching for like probably most interesting part, at least for me, which is like UX value proposition. So I would say 80% of my time I'm focusing on UX value proposition, because like obviously on your activism, like when you like product flows, when you attract some customers, but it's super easy to like lose them. So consistent value always means product retention. So for me, like UX value proposition consists of four steps. First one is to display value. Second one is to sell value. Third, ensure value. And fourth is remind about value. Let's talk about it just a bit later. So display value. Obviously, like there are lots of tips and tricks how to display value better when users are like, currently using your product. Like from my experience, what we do. First, use 9 out of 10 rule when writing a copy. So what does it mean? Let's say like you gather 10 people in a room and you present your product copy, your like value proposition copy, statement, and so on. And if only one of 10 don't understand don't understand benefits clearly, you don't use it copy. You need to tailor this copy like so good because everyone should understand what benefits they will get. So use clear CTAs. So just CTA, just sign up. It works, but you might consider testing sign up and get something. Sign up and get free access. Like, I don't know, proceed and get a gift. It shouldn't be like super big CTAs, but if you're displaying a value on CTA, not just pushing users to do something, usually it works better, and we are like continuously testing it. So try to avoid commitments on the first stage because of course you want your users to be with you for I don't know 1 year, 2 years, and you want good retention curve and so on, but try to do as little commitment as possible. That's why all apps now are using free trials. That's why you're given ability to use the tool stop subscription in a month and so on. So less commitments means better conversion. So urgency, we all know that urgency works good. So I won't start for it for a long time. But if you're creating some urgency, when you're thinking about urgency, think about booking.com, because when you're trying to book a room on booking.com, they're saying, okay, it's last room available in this city. Now you have a big discount, but it's only for 15 minutes. Someone else tries to book it right now. So you need to rush, you need to book, and urgency works good. Of course, you shouldn't mislead your users, because if you don't have urgency, it's probably it's not good to display something like that. But you can always try to tailor your metrics. You can always try to tailor your experience and remind users that it's a very specific product and you need to rush to purchase it, and offer something before asking for something. As I mentioned before, free trials is a good way to give users value before even charging them. Another, it works very good for in B2B sales, when you're making and creating an access for someone to your knowledge base and so on. You're giving 20, I would say, page book about users retention and so on, and you're just asking for email. So it works. Next is to sell value. We are always using nudging. So nudging or decoy pricing. For example, you have you have a subscription for 1 week for £10. You have subscription for 1 year for, I would say, £100. And if you just display these two subscriptions, users probably will take 1 month. But if you're creating third subscription called lifetime subscription for, I would say, £400, you will make conversion of 1 year subscription better, because when you use anchoring on lifetime subscription price, 100 for a year is not that big. So less steps, less information, less forms, obviously. Try to convert users ASAP. Try to convert users during this session. Always try to use autofill, because when we made autofill on Android for our users for credit cards, we tested it, and our conversion started to be much better. And it's common rule, try to establish the best user experience possible, and autofill always helps with it. So next part is ensure value. So obviously, if you're promising, it's very common thing, so I haven't stopped for it for a long time. But if you're offering something, you should ensure that users are getting this value. So always try to measure performance. For example, if you're I would say carpooling service or taxi app, and you're offering premium product instead of just economy, you should always like give premium experience and tailor your experience for different segments of our users. Try to make custom value proposition for different segments of our users. Next, try to remind about values. So always try to give users feedbacks and collect users' feedbacks and understand if they are happy with that values that you provided. Use push notifications. When you're using push notifications, like you're collecting feedback, you're reminding that users just got some value and so on. And try to make repurchase CTA. So if your users, if you made this first 3 steps right, repurchase CTA is a good way to make bigger sales, because if value was delivered right, users are likely to repurchase. And if you make proper repurchase CTAs in the right place or in a user flow, it works. So example from my product from Badoo. So we have credit features in Badoo and several credit features. So I made a product paid feature satisfaction survey and key conclusions for that survey that might be we could make something better. So we steps is to reconsider the value of credit features and explain value better and make features, I would say, increase time of user promotion and so make just features works. So what I made, let's say, I'm talking about one of the biggest credit features in my product is extra shows. So Badoo, probably as you're aware, it's a dating product. It's like swiping mechanics and so on. So extra shows credit feature, when we're starting to show users profile more on encounters. So obviously users getting more incoming activity, more likes, more matches, messages, visits, and so on. So as a first step of this big value proposition project for extra shows, we changed an algorithms. So it was iterative set of changes, but we were able to increase incoming activity for males 3 times. And of course, if we're increasing incoming activity, that's good. But another thing is that with outflow, get more matches is entry point for purchasing extra shows. So when you're tapping on it, you purchase credit feature and that's it. Nothing happens. I mean, product works. We are starting to display users profile more encounters, but user probably don't understand what's happening. So new flow, what we changed? So we changed product copy to make first step display value better. So we tested this copy several times and made a winning variation. So we offered in the right step of user journey, we offered special promotion and gave our users an ability to purchase 3 features with price of 2. And then we started to display that something is going on. I mean, when user purchase a product credit product, we are displaying that, okay, you're currently being promoted in app. So we have 2 hours. So we standardize time of promotion and you have 2 hours of promotion, and we display it almost everywhere when users see entry points for credit features. And I would say steps that work so good that we are currently expanding it to all our products is to display value. So we made a special screen called feedback screen. And we are calculating all user activity during the promotion. And it's absolutely true that initially user didn't know, I mean, how many likes, visits, messages they got. And currently we're displaying it. So we are calculating, and user get a screen saying, okay, you got 15 likes, 50 visits, 3 messages, and so on. And there is super big and clear CTA to repurchase called activate extra shows. So extra shows sales revenue went up, I would say, almost twice. So that's we have a limited time. I probably have 1 minute. So that's it. I would say value proposition is super valuable for your product. I mean, product value proposition helps in acquisition step, but UX value proposition, I would say it's even more important, because if you make clear like steps, displaying value proposition, selling, and so on, you are making your product revenue and retention better.